Welcome to the Sports Joc College Football Preview Show 2013. Great football season on tap this year, I can tell. Can Alabama three-peat? Can Jadeveon Clowney live up to the hype? And can Johnny Manziel repeat as the Heisman Trophy? We're about to figure all that out in the weeks to come. I'm the Sports Joc Wayne Gandy. I'm sitting here with my partner in crime to always help me learn about the SEC. He knows it all. That's why I let him on the show with me.
I know a little bit about college football.
Our man, Han Vans, BigHarryBlog.com. Are you excited, Han?
Understatement of a lifetime, Mr. Gandy. I have waited for this moment. I wanted more airtime. I got my more airtime. I got the perfect.
You sound like Phil Collins. I've been waiting only in.
It's football week, y'all. It's football season. This is football season.
Yes,
it's our new show.
New show. I'm just glad to be here.
Great life, y'all.
It's always exciting to talk football, but there is no bigger conference than the Southeastern Conference. A lot of teams in this conference could end up being national champions if we catch a break here or there. We have at least 5 teams in the Southeastern Conference in the top 10, which lets you know right there how good a conference it is. The Sports Joc College Football Preview Show. Listen Fridays, 9 a.m. on the sportsjoc.com. This week we will be airing a little earlier on Wednesday due to there's some Thursday night action that we just did not want to lose out on. Big games to start off the season. And we're just going to jump right on into it. South Carolina, the Gamecocks versus North Carolina, the Tar Heels.
They should play more often, don't you think? I mean, they should play.
You would think that it would always be a Carolina battle on TV. This year it's Thursday night action to kick the season off.
My birthday, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm 43, y'all. I know I only look 32.
43.
But I'm 43 years old on the first day of college football season. This is just taking the day off from all responsibilities.
And it seems like it's been 43 years since Georgia won a national championship.
At least. I was 10 when Georgia won a national championship, and at the time I was a Texas Longhorns fan.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and TCU, but TCU was kind of in a downturn. My folks went to TCU. I was born in Austin. Didn't know where I was going to college. I was actually looking at the U. I was thinking about going to the University of Miami right up until my sophomore year of high school when I took a memorable weekend trip up to Athens. Okay. And I said, I might stay in state.
They were still partying back then.
It was the #1 party school in the country at the time.
Right.
But the team wasn't too great. But it was a lot to see up there. Right. And it was close to home, and it was in state. It wasn't a private school. Save the folks some coin.
Well, this South Carolina team this year, some familiar faces back, some gone.
They lost a lot.
They lost a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. In different publications, South Carolina has been ranked between 6 and 10,
right,
based on whose poll you read. They have the top defensive player in college football.
In the world, according to Mark Richt.
He proved that last year in DN Jadeveon Clowney, nicknamed the Freak.
Re-nicknamed after Javon Curse.
I was about to say, yeah, there was
similar
another
build,
freak.
Similar athleticism. Actually, Clowney looks to be better than Javon Curse at this stage.
I think really mainly because he's physically bigger.
And stronger guy.
Whereas Javon never really put on a lot of bulk. He always was
more
just
of a Charles
tall.
Haley build.
So I would put Jadeveon more in the Julius Peppers, a little shorter Julius Peppers type. Big and tall and long, and powerful.
Peppers played basketball at North Carolina also. He was awesome, man.
Right.
Power forward / leading the ACC in sacks defensive end. He was a great player.
This game is Thursday night. Let's get into this game real quick.
This is great. North Carolina's coming off probation. They had some problems. They've always been sort of a sleeping giant.
Some problems.
They had some problems there. #1 problem is basketball will always overshadow football. it would be like University of Alabama becoming a basketball school.
Right.
Ain't gonna happen, y'all. So it's the Tar Heel State. The state was named after the basketball program, I'm pretty sure. Dean Smith, bad producer, all these, heroes.
And what's interesting when you look at the North Carolina team, you're talking about a team that has put out a number of first-round picks, second-round picks in the draft, but never really seen as a football powerhouse.
Well, and they have good facilities.
Yes.
They have a big stadium. They have a rich alumni. Beautiful, beautiful campus.
But they're still dominated.
Second oldest public college in America, University of North Carolina. Go Dogs.
Well, when you look at this game, you look at a team, as you're saying, coming off probation. You look at a team that last year could move the ball. With all their issues, they still could move the ball up and down the field. They had a great running game.
They have Fedora. Remember, he had such success at Southern Miss and came over. Larry Fedora. He's known as a great offensive mind. Southern Miss was like 13-1. He left. They went 1-11. So I'm thinking, or maybe winless last year.
Yes, they did.
Much to the chagrin of our friend and ally Big Kenny. That's his alumni. He's a Southern Misser.
Right.
North Carolina was 8-4 last year. I think they have a shot in this game. We're going to save our predictions, by the way, for the end of the show. So if you're hearing your team in an earlier segment and you're saying who they didn't really choose, that's because we're going to go out on the last of this 1 hour show with the predictions. We're just going to talk the games.
Right. Well, if you have a dark horse that can unseat Georgia as the SEC East champ, it would definitely be South Carolina.
Hard to call them a dark horse. I mean, they won 11 games 2 years in a row.
Well, when I say dark horse, it really means the team in line.
Correct.
The team that wouldn't surprise me to win the SEC East, which Georgia and South Carolina play in like 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
So when you look at this team, it starts with Connor Shaw at quarterback. It starts with
and Dylan Thompson gets in and throws it some too. Both their quarterbacks are very efficient, very good. Connor Shaw is an amazing runner, great at the read options.
And Connor Shaw, when healthy, gives you some Johnny Manziel. He does look like Johnny Manziel when he's healthy. Now, last year he was in and out the lineup with injuries, but
he runs a lot. He gets banged up a lot.
He gets banged up.
He's a tough guy, though.
Yeah, and I think the thing that will determine what South Carolina does this year will be totally on the defense. Can Clowney find
four starters back?
Yeah, can he find any help? He does have defensive tackle Quarles in the middle.
Quarles is a beast.
That is a beast. A lot of people,
to say the least,
haven't been noticing him, but he will be on Sundays. He's a junior. He can play inside, which is always great for a defensive end to have someone pushing the quarterback back into the pocket.
Now, South Carolina last year was considered a running team. Marcus Lattimore had come on the scene 2 years ago, and they were really considered a running team. They did run the ball a lot. They weren't that explosive. When they were explosive, it was off an ace. Remember the great punt returns he had, the little slot receiver, jitterbug guy, who could really get it done. He's gone. That huge receiver they had, he's gone. Lattimore, didn't play a lot, and they still won a lot of games, but they weren't very explosive.
But Mike Davis, isn't that the backup? He came in and
Spurrier says he's good
and did a pretty decent job in that role. And if they can get, is it Andre Ellington?
Ellington, he plays basketball and football.
Yeah, if they can get him to kind of open the field up with big plays.
Yeah, they need a big play guy because Ace really was their big play guy last year.
Yeah, so
and one of the he was kind of the honey badger mid-season. I was thinking this is this year's honey badger. The guy who's going to make plays in big games at big times. Broke Georgia in pieces, which we fell apart in that game.
And all the ball coaches there, so you always have a chance. I love Coach Spurrier as a coach. He does seem to get he uses his talent to the best.
He does, and he's a needler. He'll get under your skin.
He's going to get there, and he's going to get it out of him.
He wants to win this North Carolina game because it can really hurt him in recruiting. South Carolina is not a very populated state. North Carolina is.
Right.
So losing that is going to hurt him.
And this is a good game for them to start with. When I'm in contention for something, I would rather have a decent opponent to beat than to start off with a real opponent that can't challenge me. It just lets me know where I am. If I can go out against a North Carolina that is, had a decent season,
and they're predicted to make some noise this year. They're 8-4. they're emerging.
Right.
They're in that year 2 of good coach that we've talked about so many times. Year 2 of good coach can be a great year for a program.
Another Thursday night game, Vandy, Ole Miss, James Franklin, and the Vanderbilt.
That's the dark horse.
Commodores.
Vanderbilt is the dark horse.
Yeah,
We're talking about the team that might win the SEC East. They're probably not going to, but they could.
Mm-hmm.
Vandy had a great year last year. Ole Miss had a great second half of the year. 19 returning starters.
Right.
The 2 non-returning starters were the top 2 players in the country in high school last year.
Right. Vandy 9-4 last year. Isn't that surprising?
They had a close game last year. It is at home in Nashville this year. Rebels, Vandy. This is a compelling. I can't think that there's ever been a more compelling Vandy Ole Miss game than this.
And if you do, either one of these coaches, just like I just said about the South Carolina North Carolina game, you do want this kind of competition early, so you can make sure your players build confidence.
And both teams
winning
need
this
that win.
game kind of gives you confidence that we are not a fraud. Last year was not just whimsical. It is actually something that
Correct.
we are here to stay. Robert Kimduche, the number 1 high school player, will be starting for Ole Miss.
Yes, with his brother,
who
really came on second half of the year last year.
Yeah.
When we're about to go to break, it looks like.
Yeah.
Coming back, talking about my dogs. Traveling to Clemson, Mississippi playing Oklahoma State in a big matchup. A lot of people picking Okie State to win the Big 12 next year.
Yeah.
Or this year. It's here. It's now. It's football season, Wayne.
We'll be right back with more of the Sports Joc College Preview Show. Georgia Clemson. Can't get any better than
Dogs.
that.
Well, none of them want to get with me. My threads are fresh and I'm looking deaf. Yo, what's up, what LOC? The girls are so